Let's do it live right now. Yeah. Turn this shit up, Y'all need to wild the fuck out there. Let's go. Go with us, yeah. Turn it over, turn. I can never go back. Life without parole. Upstate, shackled and trapped. Living in the hole. Looking at the world through a crack. But fuck that. I'd rather shoot out and they clap. I call it too far. Ain't no coming back for me. Auschwitz gas chamber full of encyclopedias. Just like the Spanish exterminate Taino. From the black and Indian women to create Latinos.
This is Rich with BrokenBox TV at the Virginia Key Beach GrassRoots Music Festival. We're backstage with the one and only incomparable Immortal Technique. Immortal, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. I'm feeling wonderful. There's a few mosquitoes in the house, but other than that, you know, we feeling good. It's a mixed bunch of emotions because people just heard Whitney Houston died, and that's crazy. And all of a sudden, you know, we're about to do a world music festival where they have all different types of music, where they had folk music, rock and roll, R&B, hip hop, West Indian, West African, whatever it may be. And to me, I feel blessed to be here and to be a part of something like that.
Well, we want to take this opportunity to thank you for taking out some time and speaking with us. We want to just pick your brain on a few things that have been happening recently in the news and with you. Recently, there's been discussions in Congress regarding SOPA and PIPA. I don't know if you heard anything about that. You know, File Sharing Act. I want to know what do you feel about that, and how do you think that can affect you as an independent artist and artists in general and musicians in general, how that can affect it if something like that does pass?
I mean, I think that in this climate, there are things that people are obviously going to be a lot more concerned with in the upcoming elections. But at the same time, I think that the music industry is incredibly hypocritical to accuse people of stealing when they're the ones that have been stealing from their own artists, stealing from themselves, and basically bankrupting the industry. Their lack of vision, their lack of understanding of music and culture. And I think that realistically speaking, the public, when they see and they understand what this really is going to have a very negative reaction to what they're trying to do. So me personally, I'm just trying to put the word out to more people to let them understand what this legislation is really about.
Great. We heard through the grapevine that you started your own farm to help the people of Peru. Is that correct?
I have farmland that has only been developed, a small percentage of it now. I haven't announced the official agricultural programs that we're going to implement there, but I'm hoping to hopefully do that by the end of the year. Because it is 2012 and this shit is all gonna end, so I want some food to eat that's gonna be self-sustaining, so I don't have to, you know, be picking Twinkies out of a box in 2017. You know what I mean? That's no way to live life.
Like Zombieland, you seen that movie?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, to me, I think people don't understand that you can't eat green paper. You know, it doesn't have any real value.
That's true.
You know, you get, the land is everything. You know, and that's what they stole from the native people here first. That's how you know that's how you know it's worth it. They ain't take no trinkets from them. They ain't want. Well, I don't want your necklace, nigga. You know, I don't want green paper from the Apache, from the Cherokee. I want the land because that's what's more valuable than anything else.
So, your last album was called The Martyr. You put it out for free. We want to thank you on behalf of your fans for doing that.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about why you decided to name it The Martyr and the meaning behind that?
Sure. I think that for me, I definitely was confronted with the fact that people would come up to me and say, oh, you're talking about the necessity for people to sacrifice their life for revolution and die. And I said, well, sacrificing your life for revolution isn't necessarily dying. It means you're going to work your life and dedicate your life towards a specific goal. And if that means that you have to take more responsibility upon yourself, then that's exactly what you have to do. I mean, the life of a revolutionary is not a simple one. You know, you have to hold yourself to much higher standards. You know, I'll tell you what, you could take any artist right now that's on the top 10. If they do something out of pocket, they talk about being a gangster, for example, and then you find out that they're not really a gangster, that they're a choir boy, or that, you know, there was a cop, or whatever it may be. That doesn't affect their sales. No one cares. You know what I mean? But a revolutionary is held to a different standard, you know? If I don't automatically stand for what I talk about, then people are going to say, oh, you know, in other words, the fan base is a little more judgmental than I would kind of care to give a fuck about their opinion about. But at the same time, I understand where they're coming from, because even though I don't allow people to make personal judgments on my life, and I don't design my life to appease anybody else, that's a very sacred thing. And when you hold the banner of revolution, it's not something you can just wave around when it's convenient for you. It is a lifelong commitment to be dedicated to supporting your people and to supporting the spread of truth, and to making people understand that, yes, this country has a lot of positive things about it, but there are things that also need to change and that need to be acknowledged about the wrongdoings of the past that cannot be just glanced over.
Right. And finally, we want to get your thoughts on recently in the United States, there's been, as you know, Occupy Wall Street. We saw you there. In the Middle East, there's been the Arab Spring, and it's continued on into the winter, and now again probably into the spring in Syria. How do you feel about that? And do you think that the people of the world are really finally starting to stand up for themselves and fight for their own human rights? And how do you feel about that as an artist that's always preached something like that?
What did you get out of Egypt?
I got that people could really...
No, I'm saying, what kind of government did you get out of Egypt?
Oh, I mean, there's been a military government right now.
Military dictatorship right now. And it still has close ties to Israel. It's still tied to America. It still gets its weapons supplied from America. What changed? You moved out Ben Ali, the puppet, right?
So
no, let me just finish. Wondering. Now, you got Gaddafi, right? But you didn't just get him. You raped him publicly. You saw the video. He was raped by the niggas that killed him. Holy shit. I'm on next. But he just announced me. You should probably get moving. But he goes, yeah, we got Immortal Technique coming up. Just go.
This is all the way live, so you guys know.
Nah. So I think that what we need to understand is that what's going on in terms of the so-called revolutionary changes that I see are that people on the street genuinely want to see their countries change, but that continuously politicians are unwilling to give up that position of power. They think that that position exists to provide a nest egg for them to live the rest of their life in a privileged state rather than working to benefit the people. And I think that's the saddest part of it all. That realistically speaking, if it is an Arab Spring, then where are the civil rights for the Palestinian people? You know? And if we do move the Syrian government out of power, what do we intend to install in its place? A pro-Western friendly government that's going to help us set up McDonald's all over the place? Is that freedom? Are they going to bring democracy there like they brought democracy to Iraq? I mean, I think these are fundamental questions that we need to ask ourselves. And it's not that I'm saying I'm against these things. I'm for there being change, and I think that the Syrian people suffering is a terrible thing. And I think that the government has taken a terrible approach to it, to dealing with it. They think that every single person that has an issue now with their government is a CIA operative. I'm sure some of them are. But the difference is that now they're painting it with a very, very broad stroke. And that's unfortunately how innocent people get murdered. And that's unfortunately what creates an unstable government. And now that their government has been no longer believable, or that's what it's been branded by a lot of people, I think they're going to have a very, very difficult time justifying staying in power in the future. And in the end, America forced them to make a chess move that they didn't want to make, but that they had to. You know, similar to Cuba. You know, we're going to push you until you have to close in. What happens if you don't close in, though? Trust me, we're coming in. We're coming to drop them, and dropping them stupid leaflets ain't how we're coming. You know, we're going to come economically, and we're going to take over. You know, but that's the whole point. All right, you know, so what you forced me to be in a position that we enclose ourselves into. The same thing we saw that's happening now in America, where individuals were in a position that they saw themselves being attacked by terrorism, and then it became the government that became so inward and so introverted into itself that demanded to engulf and consume people's civil liberties, people's rights, in the name of protecting us from this. So in some aspects, it achieved its purpose that the people wanted it to. to show exactly what type of government this really is and what it has the potential to be in terms of its wickedness towards its own people, as opposed to what it funds around the rest of the world. So I think I would love to see the Arab Spring continue until they made some real fundamental changes in the way the government policy works, in the way that people decide what companies get to divide up their natural resources. Because as soon as some of these rich European firms get cut the fuck off and they start clamoring, trust me, niggas start dying out there. That's just the way it is. You fuck with somebody's paper, you can't have a political revolution. You can't have, if you don't have economic freedom, you won't have political freedom.
So, no, we just want to take this time again to thank you. And if the people want to hear some more about your thoughts and things that you've been doing, where can they check that out?
You can come to viperrecords.com. I also have a documentary coming out, hopefully in the next 2-3 months, called Revolution, in parentheses R, Evolution of Immortal Technique, which documents my journey, but it also is a tribute to artistic expression for those people that won't compromise their art, whether it's independent hip-hop, independent media, whatever it may be, to go out there and tell the people what's really going on. It features, very, very good friends of mine, Dr. Cornel West, Ice-T, Chuck D, KRS-One, Woody Harrelson, Diabolic, Poison Pen, Southpaw, G.I. Joe, everybody that roll with me now. So go check it out when it drops. Immortal Technique. We here. Peace.
It's BrokenBox TV.
Churches in the heart of a war. That's the place a martyr is born. Motherfucker, it's on. Bring the night before the start of the dawn. That's the place a martyr is born. Motherfucker, it's on. Shots are raining in the heart of the storm. That's the place a martyr is born. Motherfucker, it's on. Guerrilla wars